Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm combining archery and photography. Now I've never done that before, so it's gonna be interesting. Let's go. Now for today's photo shoot, I'm going to use the Panasonic G 42.5mm lens with an aperture of 1.7, and the 42.5 is really a stupid focal length, but since this is a micro four thirds lens, it actually equivalents to 85mm full frame, which means this is an ideal portrait lens. Now the aperture of 1.7 is not exactly the same as on a full frame. It's more like 3 something in terms of the shallowness of depth of field, but it is a very shallow depth of field, and I want to use this in order to capture these tiny small details of the archery process. Now I'm not going to focus completely on the whole archer. I just want to focus on the process of archery, those teeny tiny movements and motions and feelings that you get when you put on the arrow, when you start lifting up the bow, when you pull back on the string. It's those things that kind of bring the passion in any archer to just grab a bow and just start shooting. So joining me today is Slovenia's best archer, Gaspar Strajhar. Gaspar, welcome to the show. This feels like a podcast, actually, my first podcast. So Gaspar, tell me, you're currently ranking 37th in the world ranking order?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow, I mean, you guys might not think, 37, why not top 3? But if you think about it, if this was tennis and I would be talking to the 30-something tennis player in the world, you would be like, woo! Well, so archery is not as popular a sport, although I think in the 2012 Olympics, the final was actually the most watched event. I've read that somewhere. Is that actually true?
Yes, it is.
The most watched event on the Olympic whole, thing. I will use Gaspar as kind of a model for today's photography because he has patience, and I know that he will not shoot me if I stand in front of the bow. So I'm also going to catch some slow motion shots. Everything done with the 42.5 f1.7 lens. So yeah, let's get going.
Yeah.
I'm also going to use this lens for all the slow motion shots that I get today because I think the 85mm focal length is just awesome for those cinematic slow motion, shallow depth of field shots, and I want to get really close to the archer and really close to the whole process of just firing an arrow. So this is going to be like the main lens for today's photo shoot. Well, except this, except for the vlogging part. Okay, so one thing you guys might be interested is how many times do you actually shoot a Robin Hood? Now that's when you hit your arrow with your own arrow. And Gaspar, how many times you do that?
Usually I do it like 2 times per week.
2 times per week. You might have think this is like a very rare thing, and the first time you do it, it's like, whoa, I hit my arrow, but then you think about it, it's like 40 euros per arrow, so it's really like a waste of money. Mika, how much arrows did you like destroy in your archery career?
In the last year, probably 6.
6, oh yeah, okay. That's that's just really money thrown away. Now it once happened to me that an arrow actually hit on the 9 ring, and then it kind of didn't stick inside and just kind of was hanging on, and everybody was saying, Miro, don't shoot, you're gonna hit the arrow. And I was like, no, there's no way I'm gonna hit the center ring. I shot the arrow, bam, and everybody was like, oh, you're not happy when that happens. So a fun fact from the archery world. Now the second reason why I'm using this lens and this focal length is because I don't want to capture too much of the surrounding of this archery range, because honestly it's not an Olympic stadium kind of awesome, really awesome range. It's basically just a training range which needs a little bit of maintenance because we had the corona and we're still waiting for a picnic that we can then patch all the targets together and everything because they're really busted. So basically I don't want to capture anything of the ambient. I don't want to capture the houses back there and the fence right here, and I just want to focus on the teeny tiny details, the details that are going to add to the story of that emotion and the joy of just performing the act of archery, basically, And I've never done this before, so I have no idea how this will go. You guys can judge me on my success right down in the comments or by just liking this video. Fingers crossed. This is like a recreational walk. You walk about 5 kilometers, I think, up and down, 70 meters one way, 70 meters the other way. So, you get in the form of walking. You can hike up mountains, I think, if you do this every day. And it's just walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I'm not gonna do like a full-on review of this lens. I'm just gonna show you how you can use it to good effect. And I use this lens primarily for some close-up, shallow depth of field, flower photography basically, and the slow motion B-roll shots that you see in my videos. I also have a ND filter, like a variable ND filter, because it's shooting at f1.7. This baby is gonna let in a lot of light. So if I'm outside, I need to step this down all the way 9 stops to actually be able to have some sort of control over the exposure if I want to shoot with f1.7. Even though I'm shooting with the shutter speed of 250th of a second, it's still sometimes really bright. So this is a must-have if you want to do slow motion shots with f1.7. Now the lens has just the focus ring, which is very smooth. It's a focus by wire, and it's extremely fast if you use autofocus. It's actually the same speed as my Leica 12 to 60mm, which is like a double the price of this. This one costed, I think, around 400 euros. I don't actually remember. It's a really sturdy lens. It has like a full metal body design, and you can see the aperture is it's quite big. You know, it's going to give you that really shallow depth of field. So yeah, I really enjoy using this lens. It's not water sealed or weather sealed. Water sealed. It's not weather sealed, so I did have some trouble when it was really moist one day and it was really cold. So freeze and moisture kind of or I think a problem with this, but you know, I mean that was like one time in 3 months that I had this lens. It's not a big deal, especially considering the price. Now the biggest advantage of this is that it's really teeny tiny small. You can see, I mean, this is one of those small lenses, just like the Laowa 7.5mm like I have here. It's pretty much the same size, and it's actually lighter than the Laowa 7.5mm f2. It has a 37mm filter thread, but I have a step-up ring to 52 because my filter is 52mm. So that's basically that. It comes with a cap and a hood, which I never use because I will have the filter on. It has I don't know how many glass elements in I don't know how many groups, because honestly I just don't care, and I just want the lens to be sharp, and it is really sharp. It's the sharpest at f5.6, just like any lens, I think. It works really well with f1.7. f22 of course is going to be like a diffraction nightmare, just like on every other lens. So basically that's that, you know, that's like the whole review of the lens. You guys can see in the shots and in the B-roll how well this actually performs. I have to pick up Alex right now. We're gonna have some fun, and then in the evening I'm gonna get to the photos and to this vlog editing thing. So hello. More archers. So nice. It's so nice that the coronavirus is letting us, you know, be archers or whatever. I mean, I'm not archering right now. I'm vlogging. Ha! Now the lens performed really well. The autofocus was always spot on, even when I made those 20 frames per second burst shots, which I needed to do to capture, you know, the string vibrating or, you know, the arrow flying out. The focal length, I think, is just ideal for photography like this, and that aperture 1.7 f1.7 is actually awesome because it really let me focus on the details, you know, on that feeling when you just perform the act of archery. Now I would absolutely recommend this lens to anybody who's into portrait photography, because in micro four thirds world you don't have a very shallow depth of field anyway, just because of the crop factor and because you have to stand further away from the focus point. So if you're into portrait, this is very nice. You have a Leica alternative to this, which costs about 1,200 euros or 15, I'm not really sure, and I seriously doubt that it's actually worth that much money. It's a little bit bigger, that's I think the only difference, and the build quality is probably a little bit better, maybe sharper, I don't know, but I'm really happy that I have this lens and I use it for my slow motion shots, as I said, always. So yeah, a solid 9 out of 10. I would give it a 10 if it was weather sealed. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow probably. Yeah.